Mhm. All right, and we're going. And so, yeah, today I just basically wanted to have some fun and explore a couple of different things and learn and kind of work on a guide for Open Source 101. I learned how to code because of open source. And there's a couple of resources that I really relied on in my process, in my learning, and in my kind of my personal adventures in development that made it really easy to learn. So wanted to just take a quick moment and start aggregating them into one place so that others who really want to get into open source or others that might be interested in leveling up their technical skills can do so as well. So let's explore this next 45 minutes or so together to really learn about creating a guide and doing so for that open source 101 manner. So I have just opened up, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So you'll be able to see here, share my screen. I'm just going to honestly, just you can see my whole screen, have a great time. Oh, and as I share the wrong screen. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here and you'll be able to see kind of where my brain's at and everything. So I'm just creating a quick little open source guide. I've got Obsidian open. I've got the Arc browser open with a couple of tabs that I really find helpful for getting into open source and really learning the basics for this, as well as I have the GitHub desktop app and Visual Studio Code that currently has my site on it right now. So just kind of a couple of things open with everything. Looks like, I don't know what I was committing, but if you're completely new to open source, I think it's really important for you to know what is about, what you're working on, how you're thinking of things. So if you're tuning in just now, all we're doing today is talking about how I got into open source and a couple of first time things for you to do. But I personally, again, this is how I learned to code. I kind of follow a lot of open source folks in the world. I've really studied kind of how they all come together. But that all being said is again, it was something that I really got into from a fun perspective. So just putting together a quick little guide here and seeing what's out there. If you have something that you learned from or that you are excited about, I'd love to hear kind of what helps you in your journey if you're a developer. If you're completely new to development, that's cool too. But first off, again, just open up this quick guide. This is a good first issue, which is just a curation of different issues that are out there for those of you who may be new to Git or to GitHub or kind of managing issues. An issue is basically just an open ticket. Hey, I need help here. This is what we can do. If you are just trying to take 30 minutes, 20 minutes, so on and so forth, type of skills. This kind of collection of them will help you see what language is in. So if you want to practice a specific language, how many stars it has, so how popular the project might be, and how recent this activity was on that. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this in to my guide. So places into this category. And additionally, I think it's important to just talk about the lingo. So again, you don't know how to define a problem if you don't know what the problem is. I'm a big believer, and this is something when I first got into development and open source, I could do the project, but I really struggled when it came to knowing what words to search, or I really struggled just what do I Google to get help on this, which is a problem in itself. We don't talk about how this can just be confusing to learn if you're completely new to it. So it's important to make sure that we're getting the help that we need. So these are just definitions. So again, first off, what is the first issue? In folks are open to, I mean, if you have words that, you think are really important to someone new to development might need to know, or are new to coding might need to know, or open source might need to know, drop them in the chat. I'll be happy to help it out. If you're not just kind kind of new to open source, or you have a place that you reference and that really helped you in your skills, I'd like to hear that as well. So Good First Issue is a really great one. There's also this entirely like first contributions thing that GitHub has. And like, if you haven't created a GitHub account, please do right away, even if you're just like interested in a technical field, because it'll help you so much in your career. So putting that here before you begin. GitHub account, you'll probably need a code editor. I use Visual. There's a lot out there. I actually didn't use Visual Studio Code until more recently. So, whoops. I can't remember the name of it. I'm not even gonna pretend to remember the name of it. I like the GitHub app. And then I personally just use a text editor to take notes in as I'm working on a repo or I'm working on a project, just so I have it up here. I'm currently using kind of a good thing here, but it's kind of just a good way to learn. Again, so here is a good first issue here. I realized I didn't star this, but I just want to be able to star like everything about it. So issue one. Copy that. And so they have kind of just like a nice little first contribution one, and I've just opened it up. But it even has like a kind of great way to get started. It's like, how do you fork a repository? How do you learn more about it? How do you get more people involved in it? This is really helpful in all of this. So it's like, how do you learn all of this different things? And it does kind of teach you how to use the terminal, which is really helpful if you've never been able to it. And the terminal is like it's like the black scary box I used to be scared of when I started LOs, because I thought I was going to break my computer every single time that I opened it. But the terminal is just a way of navigating your computer and telling the computer where to look for specific things or items or files, which is really helpful. Like, might even had to install a package in this, which is a totally normal thing to do. Navigate. Files. I guess like now that I'm thinking about this, like I'm just writing this in Markdown right now, but like I guess I could, put this in like an open source thing as well, so you could fork this. I actually just might do that as well. So yeah, I'm actually just gonna go to GitHub. I think there's a decent like docs project that like will let me just build a nice decent documentation page. So all I'm doing is I'm just opening up GitHub here. I'm just gonna search docs project. So it's like all a bunch of different self-time streaming, docs, open source project for docs documentation. So all I'm doing is I've just been creating, welcome here if you're new. All I'm doing is just creating, I learned a lot in how to code through open source projects. So I'm just creating a resource page of how I built it, but this is very easy to kind of put everything together. And it'll have like nice little docs sites here and curated in. So all I'm doing is just a nice one. Actually, I did not know, I mean, it makes sense that the docs open source one is really helpful, but I just go see what this looks like. Kind of create my own. This is the GitHub stock page. Awesome. This is a little overkill for what I'm doing right now, but I did start to come back to later. So I really like this. I'm actually going to copy this as well because if you're new to GitHub, this is kind of a great way to learn and have everything there. So I will say one thing I have really noticed is if you're new to GitHub, their team is super helpful at answering questions and not making you feel like you're a complete idiot, because that was something I was really scared of. And I remember when I first started a couple years ago, even just like submitting a pull request and someone being like, you didn't do that right. There's places where it can be a little scary and aggressive, but don't let that scare you off. Just keep working towards it and find those places that people are accepting and helpful. Definitions. Also just going to put a nice little resources tab here. It's dropped in the GitHub docs. It kind of helps you write a little quick definition of why it's helpful. Elements of Git and that was kind of a huge one when I got started, is just really figuring out what the heck do I need to know about these things. All right, kind of diving in. So we have Git first issues. We have kind of the first contributions guide, which is very much just like a beginner friendly. How do you contribute to open source projects? Of like, what does it look like to create a branch? Like, what does it look like to make changes? How do you do these things? And here's a really helpful, like, different things that you can use. So if you're new to a lot of these projects, it has a lot of new ones. I'm actually just gonna copy those resources in here. So this is a good little And then I'm going to just put a little reminder here. Like, I know it seems like I'm just taking a lot of Google links and putting things together, but one of the root words of curation is care. And the reason it is care is because it's simply just like teaching people like why this should all matter, why this should all kind of get people in together, to get people to care about different things. There's another one here. This looks like just another good first issue site. This one, just pulling it in. It'll tell you kind of like what projects it's on, what it relates to. Ad test. Yeah, it has like some fun little build outs, fun little things here. It's kind of exciting. Here's even like how they built the Git first issue feature, which is really nice. But oh, first timers only is another really great resource. I really enjoy. So first. First timers only. It's just another little good guide. Oh, the other really good resource is if you go to Hot Open Source, they have a really great like repo of all the different ones to look at. So even this will just help you find like new repo. And this is Remember Anchor list. And he's got a really great Discord community as well. So one thing that I do is I actually follow a lot of places together to stream along with them to figure out, you know, what the best thing looks like. So, and so this is another really good one. And the thing that's nice is like even just seeing like, here's our open source code base, free code camp, freely available programming books, how the awesome list is a pretty easy one to kind of get involved in, which is literally just a list of things that are awesome. And it's super easy on kind of like getting things together, but like, how does it kind of get together? How do things come together? And it's just literally an awesome list. I don't know what that resource is. Oh, this is the open source guides. This is another great resource. Oops. Just this like really great why of doing this, and it's like here's a bunch of different ways to doing it. Open issues, like answering questions, what does it look like, interview questions. Here's a fun fact, which is kind of great. This is purely just fun fact about puffins. Like, did you know that? It's really easy to just kind of explore what puffin facts are out there and see all of the different places that are about puffins. So it's just kind of a fun one. Looks like it hasn't really been maintained recently though. And so here's kind of like the different levels, the different things that are out there, which is kind of great. Even just seeing like when do like people actually start kind of going through everything. And this is like a great little place of like, how do you get started? But I really like this one, the make a pull request video, which it's mentioned here, which kind of has how to like do that. So these are some great ones. If you don't know what a pull request is, a pull request is essentially like all you're doing is requesting access to kind of like review the project or look at the project and kind of submitting like, this is what I updated or this is what I made a change about, and it tells you what you changed, how you changed it, and kind of where people can find more information. Review. And so it'll just tell you, the only thing that's easy is just like, great, here's how to do it. How do you contribute to open source? It's a really great, easy tutorial. Again, so many things out there of like how to do this. What does GitHub look like? How do you set up a project? What do you do this? Another really great one is on egghead.io. I'll drop this one in here. Actually just copy back to my screen for a second so you're stuck with just me and actually change up the link a little bit. I'm going to actually start working this, and I'm actually going to drop this in. So for those of you who know, I'm a adjunct professor on the side. I'm a technical advisor with Studio 20. And so I often kind of like teach and educate others. And so like, I always kind of want to keep it as an open resource to others who might need it. And so I'm probably going to end up curating this resource for some of them. So yeah, I'm going to drop it out here. You can be done my time. Okay, so let's start building this. I'm going to build an open source repo about open source, about like how I am teaching these and then the different languages that I know. So I'm going to just open up my own GitHub, how to create just creating my own thing, creating my own projects and putting everything together. So I want to kind of start organizing it and putting things together. So I want to take the docs page that I found on GitHub. I want to fork it. Then I want to make my own changes to it because I'm kind of a picky brat and I just like to be stubborn and learn. It's a way of learning is kind of doing it myself and seeing if I can do it myself, which this is more on that front end side. So I do feel more comfortable in that, but it's just kind of a good way of really practicing all the time and continuing to learn about what I'm working on always. So all I'm doing is going back to GitHub. I share my screen. I'm kind of reading how this docs page, I haven't seen this one before, so I'm just kind of playing in this docs page and seeing, this is just like the docs repo, and I just want to see how it works. This still might be a little bit of overkill for what I want at this current place, but like looks pretty easy. It's like a nice little theme. I kind of want to see like what other people are working on. It looks like it hasn't really been updated since 2019 though, so it makes me a little hesitant. But again, that could just be like their Medium blog. So this is, I guess its latest is June 23, which is not too bad. This is outdated. So working on a new version. Oh, cool. They're using Astro. All right. Well, I don't really want one that's like, if this is outdated, I'm going to go find a different one. Docs5. They have like the GitHub docs. I kind of might just do the GitHub one just because it's been updated an hour ago. It has a lot. It's already easy. Pre-productions, content, contributing guide to get started. Listing issues, doing some discussion. I just kind of want to like play around with this. Product recommendations, all the other code MIT license. Like the MIT license is kind of helpful to know just because it's like, hey, you can use this, you can copy, you can use it, whatever, have a great time, as is, don't worry about it. It's kind of nice. I'm honestly just gonna kind of create it and fork it on my own. Beep. I want to see. I want to just create part of it. No. So now you can see I've created this. I don't necessarily want to open a pull request because it's not a head. I don't really necessarily want to sync it. all I want to do is kind of create my own thing. So I just want to make sure that it's something that I'm playing around with in my own time. I also might kind of want to play around just because I kind of do want to like make something own of myself just because I want to be a brat. But Read the Docs is such a great one. I love these. Open journalism is another really great one. I'm actually going to start copying these in. Open. Open journalism includes so it's like the Objective-C style guide, which is like here you can see here. Bam. Just the style guide. It's archived. But it's here. .538 is really an interesting one because it's done in Jupyter Notebooks. And if you haven't worked a lot with like Jupyter Notebooks, it's kind of just like a way of learning how to code, or it's like a way of like processing it in a kind of a smaller packaged up way. I remembered learning it when I was kind of learning it, learning how to do more of this stuff. do app template, Vox Media, great little meme generator. It's a great little meme generator just to kind of build it all together. You can see just a lot of these, like, what is code? Ooh, this is a great one. If you haven't played around with this, this is always kind of a fun one. Shock and awe, national politics. These are always kind of fun. Pixel art tools. The learn to code one is super helpful. I think that's really exciting. I'm kind of like learning how to more about DevOps, just like how to get it all together, which is super exciting. Getting started with machine learning, that's one I probably want to practice with. Games, accessibility. Game engines. Ooh, useful cheat sheets, that's helpful. So this is like the learn to code, always super helpful. I think probably the really great is like Hello World is a really great one. Project-based tutorials is really helpful for me. Beginner for new projects, that's another good one. Web Dev for Beginner, Awesome List, projects. Again, these are really awesome, like kind of the public APIs one. I remember learning a lot about this one, and this is one that actually I remember using in school when they taught us how to use APIs. It was like a really helpful one. It was just kind of like, how do you use an API? Which is a really helpful one. Facts, roots of options, there's anime, there's anti-malware, this is blockchain stuff, not so versed in that one. Google Books is a fun one. The Open Library is helpful. Calendar has like different like calendar dates and whatnot. Cloud storage, cryptocurrency, different like way of using this. Kind of fun. Creating a quick and easy UR code, super helpful. Dictionaries, like if you wanted to pull in a word a day, like anytime you see like those word a day apps, it's kind of a fun one to use. Email, if you wanted to get into that. Hello World is kind of like, how do you get these all together? Learning how to do it. This is DevOps tools. So again, this is something I'm pretty new in, but if you are interested in learning more about DevOps, this is kind of a place where I'm playing around right now. And it's been kind of fun to just learn from. It's a new area for me. So definitely learning about that kind of stuff. Hey, Emmett. Good to have you here. What am I building? I am currently just dorking around and building a resource for other people who are new to code and like how I learned. So yeah, this is purely just like a markdown document right now of different ways of how I learned to code. And so I'm actually going to make this a learn to code project and turn this into a doc page myself, and then kind of keep building onto that. But I ideally want to document it as I go so that someone can follow these steps later on and build it, and ideally expand it as far as I can go. That was very meta. Hope that makes sense, Emmett. Good to have you here. So do I really know what I'm building? Probably not. I'm just having a good time. Sweet, rad. Let's find a good docs page. Emmett, if you want to jump in, I can do some sharing and share my GitHub if you want to commit and just build some random shit together. Yeah. That's what I'm doing. We're just playing around. Here's the GitHub doc page. I've already forked it. We're just gonna edit this in my little land. I'm struggling hard this code 10 on 15 to test, but last 5. Emmett, if you want to jump on, or we can jump on a Zoom, I'm happy to figure it out with you, or at least figure out what you're building on. If you want to jump in, I can send you a linky link. If you just want to jam on it together, and no pressure if you're jammed. I just DM'd you a link on Twitter. That's okay. If you don't want to share it on Twitch, that's fine. If you just want to talk through it, I'm down too. We don't have to screen share. I'm just building my stupid little repo. But if you just want to join there, at least on voice, and hang out, you're welcome. So you can see what I'm working on. You can see the projects I'm hanging in. Mostly recently, it's been in the. I've worked on the orbit model. I've worked with the Ghost area. I've worked with the VS Code, add code of conduct, so just different code of conducts in there, and whatnot. But I don't know. Let's play around with some open source 101 docs. So this is purely just like the GitHub documentation, and yeah, all that good stuff. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna copy it. And so, but for now, I'm gonna log off. Emmett and I are gonna do some testing. So thanks, friends, for hanging out. I will build this and put it up there in the world. The end.